season that happened. Yes.
How many of you have seen Invisible Victory? Oh, cool.
That's good. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
So you know. Aww,
The satisfaction that occurs.
Satisfaction. Yeah, yeah. And those of you who don't, we're not going to spoil that. We will do our best.
Everyone dies. Sosuke very slowly and painfully. And then Kaname spits on him. That doesn't happen at all. But that's I'm going to make that happen for the 5th season, I think. By the way, did you, I know we don't know, and we wouldn't be able to say even if we did, but we don't. You got a distinct feeling there was a 5th.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
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 The way they left that, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Come on in. It's the Full Metal panel.
Enjoy, yes.
Full Metal Fantastic.
Welcome.
Mm-hmm. Come on in.
So,
by the way, have you looked at
the rules?
Because I'm especially fond of rule number 6. No, and what I find ironic about number 6 is that up until about a year ago, I did a panel that was based on nothing but number 6. I don't really, I kind of retired it, but yeah, I just think it's funny. It's interesting. And no philosophical questions. Don't ask about Sosuke's religion, please. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
But you can ask whatever else you want to ask. We will do our best to answer it if we can.
Yes.
So yes, if you have a question, will you, I guess.
Also, I think it's worth saying that I think if you have any questions about other shows we've been in together,
go ahead.
About princesses or tutus, that's okay. That's all right.
Totally fine.
Yeah. But Full Metal Panic, first and foremost, sure.
Because there have been, there was a whole time there when mine and Chris's voice were practically married. We were
from
together.
03 to 06, we were a married couple. In anime.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And before you, Monica and I had a divorce.
Yeah.
And then it was you and I for Then Monica became the friend, and you,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now she's the queen of all anime.
Now she's the queen. Undisputed. Undisputed. Absolute questions for us? Yes, come. Oh. Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. Mm-hmm. Oh,
Gotcha. Thank you.
Screening.
We cannot see those.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, you're not on.
Switch it on in the back. Yeah.
No.
Give it a second. Try it again.
Hello.
Yeah. Yay.
Thank you for coming, Lucy, Christian, and Chris Patton.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my question is, Full Metal Panic is an action type series, but what was it like doing the comedy season of Full Metal Panic Fumofu?
What's funny to me about Fumofu that I didn't even know till about 2 years ago, I thought Fumofu was the 2nd season. And I didn't know it was this additional special thing. People would be like, oh, well, I love Fumofu, but I'm not as fond of the 2nd season. I'm like, what are you talking about? And so the 2nd raid is the 2nd season, and Fumofu is this insert. Didn't know that till 2017. Just saying. Maybe I'm not smart. I don't know. I enjoyed Fumofu a lot. Even though my favorite season, oddly enough, is 2nd raid, because I am sort of a dark person sometimes, and I like the dark places that season goes. But Fumofu was a nice break, and I liked the whole arc with Blake's character and the amusement park episode especially. I had a lot of fun doing Fumofu.
Yeah. Yes, ditto to all of that. Also, I think it's kind of cool of the creators to the first season was such a great mishmash of the mecha and the action and the serious and the whispered and the comedy. And I kind of love that the creators were like, let's just give everybody Fumofu and sort of scratch that itch and just get it all out there, and then we're going to have the 2nd raid.
And really play on Sosuke's social awkwardness to the utmost. Yeah, I enjoy it. Sometimes I forget. I go back and I rewatch the original, and I forget how much action there was.
There's a lot.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed Fumofu very much.
Oh, thank you for the question.
Thank
you. Hello.
This is more of a general question. Do you have any funny or interesting stories that happened to you in your career?
Like, my career is one funny story, actually. Yeah, I mean, where to begin or end?
Where?
By the way, Lucy and I met working on a production of A Christmas Carol.
At the Alley
At
Theater
the Alley Theater.
in Houston.
And she loaned me a book, Anywhere But Here, and I've never returned it to her. That book is Anywhere But Here. Yeah, this is my go-to when people ask me that about, like, especially, like, booth stories. Right before we worked on, like, Panic together, I was in a show called Razafan. And, really? Okay, one, good, that's good. 3 of you have seen it, yes. I love Razafan. I think it's a beautiful show, but it got overshadowed by Full Metal Panic, which got eaten by Full Metal Alchemist. It's weird.
Yes.
And so I, on the way to the studio, I would often just chug one of those little 8-ounce Red Bulls really fast to get, like, hyped for my sessions for Razafan, because they were long and tenuous, and no, they were strenuous is what they were, and there was lots of screaming. I started the session, I was late that day, and I had just sucked down this Red Bull right before I went into the session, and the first cue of the day, it literally, the scriptwriter thought they were being cute, because it said, Chris Patton throat-ripping scream was my first cue for the day.
Oh, no.
And they rolled, and I let out this giant sort of tenoric, emo-tastic scream, and at the end of it, I belched profusely, long and loud, and I stopped, and I was so mortified. The director was like it was Matt Greenfield, and he was like slapping his thigh and laughing, and the engineer, Chris Bork, was like, dude, you peaked the bass. And that's one of my more awkward booth moments.
There are so many things we could say, but recently, one of my funniest moments lately, I have a terrible sense of humor in that I like those videos where people are getting scared and falling down and things like that. Like, if I'm having a bad day, I'll go find those videos of the dog with the tarantula strapped to him, and he's running down the street after the people, and I will cry. It makes me so happy. So, we were in the booth. I was recording with one of my favorite directors, Kyle Jones.
Yes, Kyle.
And Kyle and Ricardo had left the room, and I just got a wild hair, and I got under the director's desk, and I hid under the director's desk, and then Kyle came in, but only Kyle, and sat down, and I was really waiting for Ricardo because I knew that he would appreciate it, but he didn't come in, and then a few seconds passed, and then I was like, now I'm just gonna be the creeper under the table who was here this whole time, and I'm not doing anything, and it's super weird. So I finally went like, ha, and grabbed Kyle's ankles. And if you know Kyle, he let out a huge expletive. Oh, yes. And he was like, oh, shit. It's a good thing I didn't fart. I was thinking about, because he was the only one in the room by himself. And that could have easily happened. I'm just saying, if you know him.
Kyle, yeah.
But then I was laughing and rolling around on the floor, and Ricardo came in, and I was like, I just did this dumb thing I'm a professional voice actor. I'm a grown person. And I did all of what I just said. And it's not like that was years ago, right? That was like last month.
Just last month. Yeah.
I am here for those kind of pranks. It cracks me up. Oh, God bless it.
Hello.
Hello again.
Hi.
Oh, yes. So, at the end of the last episode of Full Metal Panic Fumofu, you two were talking to each other while referring to each other in your real names. So I was wondering, did you two record those sessions, in the separate booths as usual, or was it one of the very few times where you two record a booth while...
Like, be together?
Together, yeah.
Yeah. No. We were apart. But I love that you think it sounds like we were together.
Yeah, that's the best compliment. There's one example I can give of a show where I actually worked with another actor in a booth. Were you in that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember how we recorded in twos? Because it was about relationships, and so we recorded in pairs. Only time I've ever done that in my life.
Yeah.
Okay. And I knew you two recorded that separately. Just wanted confirmation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were correct. Thank you.
Yes.
Next, please.
Hi.
Before the alarm is pulled again.
You feel free to pull that microphone down.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm used to it. So my question was, what are your favorite memories at working at, ADV? Because I miss it. I know, right?
I do miss the old place.
I don't
I
miss
do
the
too.
prices, but Suncoast.
You know what actually one of my favorite memories is? This is so dorky, but way back in the day, like probably between 02 and 04, they had a bunch of like old retro video games out in the lobby and scooters. And on break, I would ride a scooter around the lobby and play like old video games. That's like one of my favorite memories, honestly. So
Which
stupid.
ones?
Oh, I'm a Galaga queen.
Yeah. And they had the old ones, like
Yeah.
didn't they have Centipede?
The
or-
Centipede, Galaga, and like Defender. Yeah. That's a favorite memory of mine. I'm so sad ADV no longer exists. I know
Yeah.
it's been like a long time, but yeah,
Yeah, that was definitely home.
it was.
That's where.
And there was a time, I don't know, you and I both, this was like our summer, where it was the summer of 2003, and when people ask me about, well, how has the industry changed? You've watched it change. This is one of the biggest changes. I remember the summer of 2003, and it was when we were working on Panic. There was a period of time where I was consecutively in 17 shows, and I was the lead in 9 of them. And like, gone are those days for everyone. I mean, like, that just doesn't exist anymore. But like, we couldn't walk out of the building without the talent coordinator being like, wait, I need to book you. Wait, I need to book you. And that was a good memory.
Yeah, it was
Just
great.
We were always working all the time, no matter what.
Yeah, there was that whole time when ADV was just blowing up, and they had all these titles, and 8 studios going at once, and it was really amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember back in those days too, when you would see, it wasn't as fast, and so you would get a phone call to book time, and it just wasn't. There was a lot more leeway, so there was a lot more. I don't want to say downtime, but it was kind of downtime where you would be like, "Hey, Jinho," and
Yeah.
you could. I don't know. It was just a different time. It was a more relaxed time.
I miss that aspect because nowadays, with everything being about streaming and simuldubbing, everything is about how fast can you do it. So everything in the anime dubbing industry is about speed. And there's no time except to run in, do your job, and either get almost no direction or be directed within an inch of your life, and then leave the booth. And you're done. And I don't know, there's a lack of camaraderie, I think,
Yeah.
now. A
It's-
little bit.
It's definitely different.
It's a different landscape.
It's a different day. Different.
Get off
day.
my lawn!
Yeah.
Thank you.
You
Yeah,
are so
thanks.
welcome. ADV.
ADV Films.
I still, when I book it, if I don't check myself, I write ADV.
Instead of Sentai?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing? I know you guys did a lot of shows, not just from ADV, but also from Funimation, all that kind of stuff. How hard is it to kind of differentiate your voice of a character without giving a similarity to another character from another show?
Pretty hard.
It's tough. I have to tell you, one of my most embarrassing convention stories stems from someone asking almost that exact question. It was my first time at Anime Central, and it was a room about this size, and it was packed full of, and it was one of those where, they don't really do this much anymore, thank goodness, where there's like 12 voice actors on a stage,
Yeah.
and someone said, Mr. Patton, and it's a fair question. They're like, does it ever get confusing or difficult to differentiate between playing a bunch of different good-looking 17-year-old mech pilots? And I was like, it's a fair question, and I thought I was being all professorial and professional, and without even thinking about what I was saying, I was like, I mean, sometimes at the end of the day, you do have to ask yourself, how many 17-year-old boys can you pull out of your ass? And I was mortified and delighted all at once at what I had said, and the room was roaring. But it begged, now we're begging the question, I don't know, right?
the best.
Oh, God, 2003. But I don't know, I think a lot of the times you're relying on good dub script writing.
Yeah. And so much is the animation and all of it. Like I've played I don't know how many high energy girls, teenage girls. And even when people go, do your Nami voice, it's not that different than my own voice. But when you put it in the context of the show and give her her words, and I'm looking at her, it comes out as her. Does that make sense? I mean, it all kind
It's
of...
a weird muscle memory thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but that's a good
Yeah.
shot at it. Yeah.
Even Kaname's not that different from me. She doesn't sound that different. But again, when you start giving her, when the writer writes the words and you're looking at the screen...
The answer is I think it comes down to very, very subtle nuances, very subtle differences that luckily, I guess if you're a decent enough actor, they come out when you're playing that character.
That's right.
It's the best way I can answer it.
That's exactly right. That's such a good answer.
Well, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Hey.
Well, I just want to say thank you guys. Panic was one of my first mech series I ever watched. Yes. I watched The Invisible Victory subtitled, and then I was like, that's not satisfying. And I was so happy when you guys came back for the dub.
Oh, us
it made me
too.
so
We were happy too.
But my question is for Chris Patton. So for the Fumofu episode where you're coaching the lacrosse team, I kind of want to know what your experience on that was, because I feel like you were channeling some Sergeant Hartman in there.
First of all, I'm a Stanley Kubrick fan. So, that was just a rip from Full Metal Jacket. It was a literal rip from Full Metal Jacket. It's word for word. I think the funniest thing about that is that I really said all those words, and they put those ridiculous sounds over them. What I wish is that there'd been like an Easter egg or whatever where you could really hear Sosuke just saying all those horribly offensive words. But like Don Rush and I had a lot of fun recording that episode. It was fun. Yeah, so just as a person who has an immature, stupid sense of humor sometimes and a Stanley Kubrick fan, it was delightful for me. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay. That was good.
My question is for both of you. I was wondering, what is your favorite mech from the series and why?
Favorite mech?
I hate to say it, I'm kind of fond of the Crowley from Invisible Victory, the little human-sized one that Blake's, I don't remember Blake's character's name.
I know. It's kind of a...
Anyway.
I know, it'll come to us.
Testarossa.
No, that's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, because he's her brother.
Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard, yes.
If you haven't seen Invisible Victory, there's
Yes.
a mech that's like human-sized, and it's devious and evil, and I'm kind of like, I find that fascinating. I could just say the Arbalest, but which is I am biased toward, but the Crowley is very interesting to me.
I was noticing that there's some cool new things in the new season.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could say a favorite, but I love that in the new season it's like they're continuing to sort of evolve and introduce us to different stuff. That's what I thought was so awesome about the first season and the first shows was it's such a great marriage of all different kinds of shows. The mecha stuff is super fun. It's great. The stuff with all the whispered and that stuff is so interesting. The comedy is great.
I was gonna say, then you've got the high school romance.
The
stuff.
high school romance. Kurtz Weber.
Yeah.
Like all of them in their mech when they're invisible and they're tailing Chittery around in the first season is hilarious. It's so funny. Yes.
I
yes.
really like Vic and Allison in those scenes.
Wonderful.
In all the
Melissa Mal. She was so good.
Yeah, and Hillary as
Hillary's.
Captain, who I was wondering for a while if they were gonna hook Sosuke up with her. Of course, you're supposed to wonder that, but I was like, how's that gonna pan out? But anyway, we know.
But
now.
then Kaname pulled out her fan and went.
Yeah. Oh,
No
by the
way,
way,
no
were you at the convention with me where I should just do a panel called Crazy Con Stories, but there was a panel and this girl was cosplaying as Kaname and she was like, can I come up and like say hi to you? And I'm like, well, yes, of course. And she came up and she whips out a fan and she hit me with it. and security got all over her, and I'm like, all right, calm down. She's a 14-year-old with a fake fan. Like, calm down. But it surprised me a little bit. She bumped me over the head with a fan. I was like, damn, girl, all right, serious. But anyway, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yay, hi.
Greetings.
Greetings. Hello.
My question for both of you is this. What is the funniest line you had to say as your characters from Full Metal Panic?
I never remember what the exact line is, but it's from the original, and it's when he's talking. It's when like Kurtz is like, you know what this is for, right? And it's a, and he's like, well, of course, this holds a liter of water, whatever. Like, and he thinks is like a canteen for the desert, and that's all he thinks it's for, you know.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. If you can't think of a favorite line, what's your favorite funniest scene that you had to do?
One of my favorites that I thought was so funny between us was in that first season when I loan him my notebook and then he forgets it. And it's this thing where he's just like, and she's like,
he's like running in and out of the room really fast.
no, this is where you're looking for the notebook and you go, Jittery. What? I don't know how to say this. What's up? I forgot to bring your notebook. And then she flips out, and it's this whole thing of, what are you gonna do, huh? What are you gonna do? And does this whole thing, and then ends it with this sumo chop thing where she just nails him.
The superplex.
And it's amazing. And of course, because we were working with Dawn, we did it 50 cajillion times.
God.
It's burned into my memory, but.
I also I did love, I don't know, I don't think you say it. Someone says it almost in the background, but they're planning the festival. And like, what should we do with Sosuke? And they're like, make him the trash. I love that. And of course, Sosuke dutifully does it, you know.
That's right. I do remember that.
Yeah.
One of the girls.
One of the girls says it in the background, yeah.
Thank
Anyway.
you. Fumo.
Oh,
Tiffany Grant.
So
Yes.
good.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello, this is for Lucy. I just want to say I'm a huge fan of your work, and
Thank you.
and you're like one of my favorite voice actors, and I love you in Full Metal Panic and Negima. And just a quick question: what characters have you done like has really stuck with you in the past, like you're glad that you took that role?
Well, you know, it's fortuitous that we're doing this panel because Kaname was my first lead. And I mean, hand to God, I had done 2 small things at ADV, had no confidence.
Were you in Neoranga?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how he picked me for Full Metal too.
Yes, I was in Neoranga. I was just a girl on a beach, but I went home and told my roommate, I am awful at this. I was terrible, and I said it would be a miracle. I'm never going there again. They're never having me back. And the next week or something, there were Full Metal Panic auditions. And I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a total fluke. I went and read, and then I was cast. And I'm not even kidding you. I went to the internet. It was probably dial-up.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and I was like, teach me about anime. What is happening? And began to see that people reviewed this work online, that people were very opinionated, and there's this whole world that I really, frankly, did not know about. And I had a panic attack. But truth be told, I mean, it has worked out for me in a way I never could have imagined. And so Kaname and this show was the beginning of everything. And in fact, Mike McFarland, I got to go up to Funimation because Mike McFarland had watched Full Metal Panic. And I saw him at a convention, and he goes, hey, I just watched that show. I love your work. Would you come up and read for us? We're working on a show called Full Metal Alchemist, and I'm wondering if you would come do an episode character as a paid audition, which is the best way to audition.
Oh, yeah. Nothing
So
better.
I was paid because he had seen this show. I was paid to go up there and do Siren
What was
in
that show
episode
called
10
again?
of Full Metal Alchemist.
I'm not familiar.
I know, I don't even know. Yes, so all the Full Metals. All the Full Metals.
All the Full Metals. Yeah, that was a weird thing too. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yay!
Oh, those shows were like back to back.
Yeah.
So weird.
It was so weird, I know.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
So, So, what does Metal Panic mean to you as a show?
What does it mean to you, Chris Patton?
That's a good question. You know what's funny? It was not my first lead, but it was only my third. And oddly, I guess because Don had seen my work in Razafon, he didn't audition me. Like, he just cast me in the show. And I didn't appreciate the, like with Full Metal Alchemist, I didn't appreciate the magnitude of either what it was or would become. And I remember very well the first day of recording. I got there really early, and Don showed up with breakfast, like tacos from Whataburger. And luckily, he'd gotten mine without meat in it. Yeah. And he's like, "Here, have one of these. It's going to be a long day." And we recorded like 6. Remember those days? We recorded like 6 hours. And I was like, I just thought of it kind of as another gig. I'm like, oh, I'm starting to get leads in anime now. This is cool. And I was starting to like invest in it mentally and everything. And but I guess what I'm trying to say is it was the first show I ended up developing an affection for and a connection with, especially once Fumofu happened, and then Second Raid, I was like, oh God, this guy's going to be with me for a while. Yeah. And then Alchemist happened, and then I went in and did this 4-episode character called Greed that I thought nothing of, and now like today people are still, that's what 70% of fans associate me with, you know what I mean? And the other 28, Sosuke. No, but like, I don't know. I guess it means like, it taught me about what's the word the affection that some people have for certain characters in this. When you work in the theater, it's all very like, you live with it and breathe it for 6 or 8 weeks, and then it's gone from your life forever, and you never, unless you revisit or recast in a role, it never comes back to you. And with voiceover, I didn't understand that sometimes things just stick with you and live with you. And so now Sosuke's become like a part of my psyche in a way. That's what I think it means to me. And now, with like I said, like the 300 or whatever titles I've been in, there are like probably 50 or 60 or 70 characters that are part of who I am and mean a whole lot to me, you know. Yeah, it was my first experience of that.
I also think that, those days of first, Full Metal Panic was a really wonderful and lovely time to learn how to dub. Because I didn't know how, you guys. I really didn't know how. And that was when we had paper scripts, and it was just a different thing. But there was time. And I feel like people getting into the industry now it's a much steeper learning curve. Just because it's so much faster, there's more pressure. So I look back really fondly on those days. I had no idea back then what all of that work and that time was opening up for me. And so now I look back on it as like, what a gift I was given. Yeah. In a really safe place to kind of learn the art of this. Also because Chris and I, because we're from ADV, we learned how to do anime by just listening to the Japanese.
Oh, yeah, we didn't have the beeps. Now everything's beep, 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 and you talk. They didn't do that at ADV. We chased the audio. And learning how to do it that way, it kind of makes you a badass at dubbing. So by the time we got to Funimation, they were like, you Houston people, they're really good at this. We're like, we know, thanks. But yeah, there was that, yeah. I remember the first time I did something in LA, they were like, all you Texas people are so good at sync. I'm like, well, the ones from Houston, yes.
That's exactly right. Because you just learn. Like, you learn to kind of watch out of the corner of your eye the animation and what's going on, and you trust the Japanese in your ear. It's very comforting. I find it very comforting.
Totally.
The absence of it I find weird.
Yeah, when they don't play you the Japanese track, it's very disconcerting. Yeah.
But of course, we would never say that because we're professionals and we can work under any circumstance.
Of course. Yeah, thank you, though.
Thank
that was a good question.
Yay! Hello, darling.
So first I want to say thank you guys for coming here. It's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed all of your guys' work and everything that both of you have done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question, though. With a series that you've been a part of for so long, how much do the creators lean on you now, if at all? I mean, do they give you like a chance to do input? Do they ask your opinion on things?
No. But you know what though? We did wonder if there was any pull or push for us to be At least like you, me, Monica, Vic, and Greg.
Yeah.
And if that was, because I don't know, do you know that when the first one came, you may not know this, and this is such a braggy, egotistical thing to talk about, but I am proud of it. The creator of the show, like the Japanese creator of the show, apparently, I don't know if he still does this, but when it first released in America, he would show all of his friends and cohorts in Tokyo the dub. He would show them the ADV dub to show it off best. He's like, this is the best example of the show.
What?
And yeah. That's cool. And I always found that flabbergasting. And also, Full Metal Panic was the first show where it was in Florida. It was at that first MetroCon. This little girl dressed in a kitten suit, really sassy, comes up to me and she goes, Andrea. Do you remember Andrea?
Yes!
She comes up to me and she goes, hi, Mr. Patton. And I'm like, hi. She goes, I just want to tell you something. I'm like, okay. She goes, I'm usually a sub-only person, but I will admit the dub for Full Metal Panic is better than the sub. So congrats. And I'm like, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
See, that's awesome.
But I don't know. Like, I know that, like, had we not been cast in the dub, there would have been a lot of fan uproar, but I don't know if it pulled any weight.
I have no idea. Yeah, that
I would
stuff
love
is
to
so
know.
far above us. But I will credit Funimation all day long for working really hard.
They tried to get everybody from the original cast.
Yeah, and they're not obligated to do that.
No.
So that was just them being incredibly cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yay!
I also just want to say, you can come up. I just want to interject that, like, I had to record Sosuke for Invisible Victory in Los Angeles in a little dark studio by myself with one engineer sitting there, and I had Mike McFarland on Source Connect with me, and he was directing. So I want to say that it was always very nice to go in when you had already been in to record, because being there just alone in a booth, like in North Hollywood, not in the environment, you know what I mean? And if all I had was the J track or no track at all, it was a little cold, but when I had Lucy's voice to play off of, it was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt the same way. When I got to hear your voice, I was like, oh.
You know, it was like going home, right? It was weird, yeah.
Hello, darling.
Hi.
As actors, what's your favorite traits in a director?
Ooh, answer that one.
Favorite trait for a director to have?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Dish.
Right. It's like be good, Chris. Be good. Honestly, I love for there to be I've been doing this a while. So, and I come from a theatrical background, and I'm a very text-based actor. I narrate audiobooks also. I've narrated like 150 audiobooks. So I'm very linguistically adept, we'll say. I like for a director to nudge me and edit me. I don't like for a director to micromanage my performance. It's just, and I don't mean it, if I were like 17 and doing this for the first time, or even if I was 21 and kind of all I'd ever done was theater or on camera, micromanage the hell out of me and guide me and help me. I just need guideposts and nudging. And when a director can do that and trust me, I love that. Mike McFarland is just an example. He's not the only one by any stretch. I've worked with some really amazing directors in this industry. I like a director who trusts me. Yeah.
What he said. Also, a director who is able to make a decision. The worst part is when directors don't know what they want, because here's the thing. There's not one best way to do something. Chris or I could give you 10 different takes, and they would all be fine. Like, they would all work. We could make them fit, and they would all make sense. It's the director. It's for the director.
The director knows what the best one is for them.
Right.
So
when directors kind of keep asking you for more, it's not because you haven't done it. It's generally because they don't know what they want. And that can be kind of trying.
It can. And it can ruin your workflow, and you've got a kind of an energetic flow going on, and that can diminish it.
Yes. Because what you don't know is there's an arc of this show, right? And that line is a blip. And so if you spend 30 minutes on the blip, you've lost kind of this overarching idea, and everybody's tired. And anyway.
Yes.
But of course, if we were in the booth with anyone, most difficult director in the world, we would smile and
give
be
it
like,
to him.
how many times would you like it?
Yeah.
I will do it all day long. And you were the best, and thank you so much, and please have me back.
One time working with Matt Greenfield, his wife saved my butt. I was working on Razafon again, and the reaction was, huh?
Matt Greenfield.
It was 9:30 at night. I'd been recording Razafon since 10 that morning, and he just wanted a, huh? He took me through about 37 permutations of, huh? And during those 37 permutations, his wife had come in to bring him dinner. She's an actress. And on the 38th one, when he was like, you just don't sound surprised anymore, I hear her go, well, no wonder, Matt, you've had him do it 40 damn times. Pick one. And I was like, it happens. We're all human beings.
We could not say that to him, but
she
Tiffany
could.
can.
Yeah. Yeah.
God love Tiffany.
I mean, anyway. Yeah. Good question, though.
Thank you so much.
That's super good.
It's okay.
Okay, so question B for Lucy. So when your lines have you crying, do you think of something sad, or can you just act it, or like if Chris can?
I am a very technical actor, so, and also dubbing is different because you only have a certain number of flaps. There's only a little bit of time. So I generally do not think of something sad. I generally am just very technically trying to give the scene what it needs with the flaps I'm required to do. I don't know if that makes sense. That's a long-winded way of saying I don't think of something sad. I just kind of am playing the scene in my head while trying to make sure I'm hitting the flaps, because we can be great actors all day, but if the flaps don't work, they'll just have us do it again.
Yeah.
So it's a really technical thing, marriage of creativity and
Craftsmanship.
timing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. That's...
Yeah. There's no room for method.
No, I would even add to that I think that if you go to a place where you bring yourself to actual tears in the booth, you might ruin your performance because it gets so sloppy and untechnical.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that could be a whole panel. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
You might be
Dun,
the
dun,
last
dun.
one. Make
Always
it a
wanted-
good one.
I've always wanted to meet you because I'm a big fan of Negima.
Oh, yes.
So who else did you voice besides Asuna?
Who else have I voiced besides Asuna?
Yeah.
I mean, how much time I got?
Wow, I know. So Nami in One Piece, and Honey in Oran, and Medusa in Soul Eater. Best mother ever.
Oh, I meant in
just
Negima.
In
in Negima. Who else have I voiced in Negima?
Yeah, because a bunch of voice actors did more than one character in the show.
I don't think I voiced another
I
one.
did but one in that show.
Yeah, I think I just did one. I think because I was Asuna, she wanted to just keep
I get it.
her.
Did you wish the manga's longer than the show? Did you wish the show would go longer?
Yes. And
We
then-
always want that.
We always want that because we want to be paid. But yeah, we always want more. I know they recently did the new stuff on Negima, and Asuna's not in it that much.
Right. It's called, I think, HQ Holder. Like, doesn't make any sense.
Yes, yes.
HQ Holder.
Who has seen it?
What does that mean?
Did you like it? Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. But I loved the first stuff.
Was Greg the lead in that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Greg
Do you
was
sometimes
Nick.
get a feel of Harry Potter from doing Negima?
Very much.
Totally. And that was one of Colleen's first shows to direct. And she would be the first person to tell you today that she was a micromanager. Like she was very new to directing and really wanted to make sure the product was good. And her directing style has changed so much since then that I have memories of being like, Colleen, what?
Thank you so much.
Any more? Oh, we have 5 minutes. Any burning desires? Yes,
Okay.
come on. How do you like your eggs?
I'm a vegan. I'm a vegan and I don't like fake eggs.
Oh.
I'm screwing up a joke, I feel like, but okay. No, okay. I know I'm a vegan and sorry.
I love the egg. I will eat all of
The
Chris's
incredible edible egg.
eggs. That's right. And I like them just about every way. In fact, my husband, he cannot do eggs. He cannot.
Really?
But he makes them for me. And my favorite thing lately is leftover pizza heated up in the pan with
Stop it. Stop it.
runny, man. And if it's a little bit runny, it's delicious.
I will say, when I did eat eggs,
You want
but
to make out with me right now?
right now. Before I was a vegan, I loved scrambled eggs. I did.
Yeah.
And I would mix like cheddar cheese in them.
Yeah.
And that was... No, but I really shouldn't be saying anything about Lucy because I'm the one that used to eat... Okay, I would have next day cold pizza, and I would put whipped cream on it with peanut butter. I might have been pregnant. I'm not sure, but I did eat that. Yeah.
That is the best.
Can we give Michelangelo a run for his money?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Do you guys have any good memories of working on a little anime from a while back called Ghost Stories?
At most cons these days, I do a Ghost Stories panel. It didn't work out for this one for whatever reason, but yeah, I love Ghost Stories. I love it.
So fun.
Yeah. Can I say before we close this out that the last time I was even in the same building with Lucy Christian was in 2017 at the Cure concert in Houston, Texas, and she and her husband were 2 sections over, and we were Instagramming messages to each other about the Cure show. So I just want to say I'm glad to do this panel with Lucy.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
And by the way, that was a bomb-ass show, by the way.
It was so good. It was such a good show.
Yeah. If you like the Cure, they played for 4 hours and did 14 encores. I'm just saying.
It was amazing. It was amazing. We have dated ourselves.
Yes,
you know
right,
now that we
right.
are not spring chickens.
No.
But we know how to rock.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you for coming. Yes. Yes, this was so fun.
It's got to happen once at every convention, and it's during our panel.